5 asterisk. I took the night shift job at Ridgeview Apartments because life had backed me into a corner. Rent went up, my girlfriend left, and I wasn't sleeping anyway. Insomnia feels like a slow suffocation. You lie in the dark waiting for morning like you're trapped under wet blankets. I thought working nights would exhaust me enough to crash. I didn't know it would be the reason I'd never sleep peacefully again. Asterisk Ridgeview was on the edge of Scranton, Pennsylvania. 5 buildings, each uglier than the last. Cracked parking lots, crooked mailboxes, trash bins that smelled like something had crawled inside years ago and died. Carl, my supervisor, was a heavyset man with permanent coffee breath and the look of someone who'd seen too much for the tiny salary we were making. Asterisk look, he said on my first day, handing me a ring of keys that weighed more than a small dog. You clean the laundry rooms, empty trash, check the meters, and after 1 a.m., ignore every complaint unless water is shooting out of a wall. Asterisk, I raised an eyebrow. Why after 1? Asterisk, he hesitated. Nothing worth responding to happens after 1. Asterisk, then he added, as if regretting it, especially not in Building 5. Asterisk, I thought he was joking. His eyes said he wasn't. Asterisk, the first few nights were normal dusty hallways, humming lights, the occasional half-drunk tenant wandering around looking for the vending machine. The atmosphere at night always felt slightly underwater, like sound didn't travel correctly, but I got used to it, until the radio call. It was 2:13 a.m. on my 5th night. I'd just finished mopping the laundry room in Building 3, when the walkie-talkie on my hip crackled, a voice barely above a whisper. Maintenance. Please. Someone's in my apartment. I can hear him breathing. Hurry, please. ... Hurry. My blood ran cold. What building? I asked. Static. Then, asterisk 5. Building 5. Unit. Well, the rest melted into white noise. I grabbed my flashlight and jogged across the lot. Building 5 sat farthest from the security lights, the windows black squares against a starless sky. The front door groaned as I pulled it open. Asterisk, the lights flickered. The air smelled wrong, wet, metallic, stale. Asterisk. I climbed to the 2nd floor, footsteps echoing like I wasn't alone. Apartment 212 looked ordinary from the outside, just another stained green door, with peeling numbers. Asterisk, I knocked. Asterisk, maintenance. You okay in there? Nothing. I knocked again. Silence. I tried the handle, unlocked. Inside. The apartment was dark, still empty, but the smell was stronger, like concrete soaked in something rotten. I swept my flashlight across the living room, couch, table, a mug on the counter. No person. Hello. I called softly. Anyone home? No response. I made my way to the bedroom. Asterisk, that's when I saw it. A shape in the far corner, tall, human-sized, facing the wall. My heart thudded so loudly, I felt it in my teeth. I whipped the flashlight toward the shape. Nothing, just an empty corner. Asterisk, but for a split second. I swear someone had been standing there, watching the wall, not moving. Asterisk, I backed out of the room fast and nearly stumbled into the hallway. As I turned to leave, the stairwell door across from me creaked open, slowly, on its own. Asterisk, I clenched my jaw and forced myself not to look inside. I closed the door gently, then walked ran out of Building 5. Asterisk, I told Carl the next day. He didn't joke. You shouldn't have answered that call, he said. You heard it. I argued. Asterisk, he shook his head. The radios were off the whole night. I checked the logs. Asterisk, I froze. Then who? Asterisk, let it go, kid, he said. Ignore anything from Building 5. If you want to keep your head on straight, pretend that floor doesn't exist. Asterisk, I wanted to laugh, but I see OULDN. Single quotes. 2 weeks passed before I had to enter Building 5 again. A pipe burst in the basement. Water everywhere. I shut off the main valve, climbed to the first floor, and started checking lines. Asterisk, as I passed Unit 112, the door cracked open. A woman peeked out late, 60s, thin, wild gray hair, eyes wide with exhaustion and fear. Asterisk, you work here, she whispered. Asterisk, double quotes, yes ma'am. He's back, she said, voice shaking. Who? She pointed upward with a trembling hand. The man in 212. My stomach dropped. No one's lived in 212 for months. Asterisk, I know, she said. But I hear him walking every night. Slow, heavy, like boots. He knocks on my door sometimes. But when I look through the peephole, no one's there. Only cold air. Asterisk, I swallowed hard. I'll check it out. Her face tightened. No, don't. He doesn't like being seen. Asterisk, that night, sitting alone in the maintenance office, I heard footsteps above me, heavy, deliberate. I grabbed the building plans. There was no apartment above the office. Just an inaccessible storage void. The footsteps paced slowly, back and forth, back and forth. I radioed Carl. You hearing that? I whispered. Asterisk, hearing what? Asterisk, footsteps. Right above the office. A long pause. Go home, he said quietly. Clock out. Now. Asterisk, why? Asterisk, because if you're hearing footsteps where no one should be, he said, he's moved closer. I tried asking who he was, but Carl shut off the radio. I didn't sleep that day. The noise wouldn't leave my head. Asterisk, the next shift, I dug into the old storage cabinet where Carl kept restricted files. Most folders were boring, pluming invoices, mold reports until I found one labeled Asterisk Building 5, Incidents 2003 to 2011. Inside were complaints, heavy footsteps at night. Asterisk, someone walking in the hall after midnight. Asterisk, a man staring into my apartment. Asterisk, cold air pouring under my door. Asterisk, then I found a missing persons sheet. Resident, Richard Halpern Unit, 212 asterisk status. Missing since 2008, last known report before he vanished. Greater than. Tenant claims a tall man stands in his hallway at night. Believed to be hallucinations due to isolation. The next page hit me like a punch. A grainy hallway photo, a tall figure, facing the wall, unmoving, in building 5. Outside 212, my hands shook so badly the paper rattled. Asterisk, a week later, after midnight, the emergency line rang. I answered. A voice whispered. Asterisk, I told you not to open that folder. The old woman from 112, ma'am. Are you okay? Asterisk, he's angry now, she murmured. He's searching. Asterisk, for what? Asterisk, for you. Then the line went dead. I ran to building 5, hallway lights, dead, air freezing. Asterisk. I knocked on 112, no answer. I tried the handle lock. As I turned away, I heard slow breathing behind me. I spun nothing, then footsteps above, heavy, measured, right above 212. Asterisk, against every instinct I climbed the stairs. The second floor lights flickered like something was draining them. The door to 212 was open a few inches. Asterisk, I pushed it. Asterisk, the smell hit me like a wave-rotted dampness. Asterisk, hello, I whispered, voice trembling. Asterisk, the apartment was colder than any place I'd ever been. Frost clung to the window. My breath fogged. Asterisk, I stepped into the bedroom doorway. He was there, a tall man, facing the corner, head bowed, still as a statue. My throat closed. I thought I'd pass out. Asterisk, sir, I managed. No response. I lifted the flashlight. He turned his head, not his body, just his head. A full 90 degrees. Bones not cracking, no sound at all. Asterisk, his eyes were open too wide. His mouth hung slack, as if he'd been screaming for hours. Asterisk, he stepped toward me, slowly, deliberately. I ran. I sprinted down the hallway, through the stairwell door, slamming it behind me. But every stairwell door leads somewhere wrong. Every door opened to another identical stairwell. I ran up, down, sideways. Every hallway led to more stairs, like the building was twisting itself around me. Asterisk. He followed, never rushing, just walking, like he knew he'd catch me eventually. Finally, I burst into the real basement. The door slammed shut behind me. I collapsed, gasping. A metal scrape echoed from the boiler room. I lifted my flashlight. He was there, standing between the pipes, head still twisted, staring. He opened his mouth. No sound, asterisk, but something vibrated through the floor, through my ribs. A whisper that wasn't a whisper. Let me be seen. Then everything went black. I woke up in a hospital bed. Asterisk, they told me. I'd been found unconscious in Building 5's lobby at dawn. Carbon monoxide, exhaustion, stress, asterisk. They blamed everything except the truth. Carl quit the next day. I should have moved. But some things follow you, even if you leave. Asterisk last night. I went back to Ridgeview and parked outside Building 5. No reason, no sense. Just a compulsion. A light flickered in a second-floor window. A tall shape stood facing the corner. I stared. He slowly turned his head toward me. Now I'm home. It's 3:12 a.m. Asterisk, someone has been walking above my apartment for an hour. Slow, heavy, measured, back and forth, back and forth. But I live on the top floor. There's no one above me, except him, asterisk, and tonight. Asterisk, I think he finally wants to be seen. The Night Watcher of Hollow Ridge, asterisk, approximately 3,000-word, American, realistic horror story. One message, first person asterisk, I never planned on becoming a night watchman. I had dreams once college, a normal job, normal life. But dreams don't pay bills, and, after my dad got sick, the only work I could find fast was a security job at a half-abandoned housing complex on the outskirts of York, Pennsylvania. Asterisk, the place was called Hollow Ridge Estates, though Estates was pushing it. 2 of the 5 buildings were boarded up. The pool was filled with rainwater and dead leaves, and stray cats roamed the alleys like they owned the place. The whole area had been failing for years. Drugs, evictions, break-ins, everything you can imagine. The perfect place for a desperate man to work nights. Asterisk, the supervisor, Jim, was a quiet man with sunken eyes, the kind that looked like he'd been tired since birth. Just lock the laundries, check the stairwells, and make sure no one sneaks into Building D, he said. This place has its share of weirdos. Asterisk, weirdos, I repeated. Asterisk, he nodded stiffly. Especially after 2 a.m. I waited for a laugh. He didn't give one. Asterisk, the first few nights were nothing. Boredom, long walks, cold air, the kind of silence that makes you aware of your own heartbeat. Once in a while, I'd hear a TV from some apartment, or a baby crying, or the rattle of the old heater vents. Asterisk, but on the 6th night, things shifted. Asterisk, it was exactly 2:17 a.m. when the power went out in buildings C and D. I checked the breakers, nothing wrong. I radioed Jim. Asterisk, yeah, he said tiredly. Lights go out sometimes around there. Just don't walk the 3rd floor alone. Asterisk, before I could ask why, he went offline. Asterisk, I stared at the dark hallway of Building D. My flashlight felt too small, too weak. Asterisk, I climbed to the 2nd floor. Everything looked normal: old carpet, peeling wallpaper, doors with scratch marks from years of tenants moving in and out. Asterisk, when I reached the 3rd floor, I froze. The hallway lights were on, but they weren't flickering. They were pulsing, slowly, steadily, like breathing. Asterisk, my flashlight dimmed each time the lights pulsed, as if the building was sucking in power. Asterisk, I stepped forward, one step, another. That's when I saw him, a man tall, shoulders touching the hallway, while standing at the far end, facing the window, perfectly still. Asterisk, I thought he was a tenant, maybe high, maybe drunk. Asterisk, sir, I called. You okay? He didn't move. I walked a little closer. Asterisk, sir. Still nothing. The lights pulsed again. Asterisk, my flashlight dimmed again. Asterisk, when I lifted it toward him, my breath caught. There was no reflection of him in the window. No silhouette, no outline, nothing. Asterisk, just the hallway behind me. I took one step back, one step too loud. His head turned, not slowly, asterisk, not smoothly. It snapped toward me like someone yanked it with a hook. I saw his face for half a second, sunken eyes, mouth half open, skin stretched too tight, before the entire floor went dark again. I ran. I didn't care how cowardly it looked. I flew down the stairs, nearly tripping, and burst into the winter air. When I finally caught my breath, Jim was standing outside the office, smoking. You saw him, didn't you? He said without looking at me. Asterisk, saw who? I gasped. Asterisk, he exhaled. Long, heavy, the Watcher. Asterisk, he said it like it was a name, a title. Asterisk, you're joking, right? I said. Asterisk, his eyes were dead serious. Every night around 2 a.m., he walks the 3rd floor, back and forth, like he's waiting, or searching. Asterisk, for what? Asterisk, Jim shook his head. For who? Asterisk, I didn't sleep that morning. Couldn't. Even with my curtains drawn, I kept imagining that tall man standing in the dark corner of my room, staring. Asterisk. The next night, I almost called off. But bills don't care about fear. Asterisk. My shift started normally. The security monitors glowed with grainy feeds of empty hallways. Cats prowled the dumpsters. Someone in Building B was cooking something that smelled like burnt onions. Asterisk, at 1:58 a.m., Jim walked in. Asterisk, you stay on monitors tonight, he said. Don't leave this room. Asterisk, what? Why? Asterisk, he looked at the clock. Because he's early today. The hairs on my arms rose. Jim shut the door and locked it. From the inside, asterisk, I scanned every camera feed. Nothing. Empty hallways, dim stairwells, flickering laundry rooms. Then feed C3, the Building D, 3rd floor hallway glitched. Asterisk, for a moment. The screen turned black, then static, then Dasham, standing in the exact same spot as last night, facing the window. Only this time, he slowly lifted his hand, pressed it against the glass. Asterisk, the hallway lights began to pulse. 2 beats. 3. 4. My walkie-talkie crackled. Asterisk, Jim's voice whispered, whatever you do, do not. Static swallowed the rest. On the screen, the Watcher lowered his hand. Asterisk, then. He turned toward the camera. Asterisk, his face was clearer, now deep. Empty eye sockets, a jaw that hung as if unhinged, hair matted flat against his skull. And then he stepped closer. I swore my heart stopped. Asterisk. He moved like gravity didn't work on him. Asterisk, like he was sliding. He reached the camera, leaned down, and whispered something. I couldn't hear it. Asterisk, but the microphone caught something in. Low vibration that felt like it shook my teeth. Then the entire monitor wall cut out. Dark, silent. I grabbed the flashlight and unlocked the office door. Jim was gone. His jacket still hung on the chair. His radio sat on the desk. But no sign of him. I called his name. Nothing. Asterisk, I checked the hallway empty. The air felt colder than it should have. Asterisk, then. I heard it. Heavy footsteps. Above me. Directly above the office. I knew what floor that was. Asterisk, the 3rd floor of Building D. Asterisk, I should have stayed. Should have waited till morning. But some stupidity. Adrenaline pushed me down the hallway and out the office door. Asterisk, the night air slapped me awake. Frost bit into my lungs. The lights around Building D flickered like dying fireflies. Asterisk, inside the stairwell. It was completely silent. Too silent. On the 2nd floor, I found a smear on the wall, blackish, thick, like soot or mold. Jim's radio lay on the ground, still warm. I picked it up, static. Then a whisper, "Help." It was Jim. I ran. I took the stairs 3 at a time. When I reached the 3rd floor, I froze. The hallway was wrong. The walls bowed inward, like someone had pushed them from the inside. The carpet was damp, smelling of earth and rotting leaves. And at the far end, where the window should have been asterisk, no window, just darkness, spreading, breathing. Something moved inside that darkness. Asterisk, a silhouette, tall, waiting, asterisk, "Jim," I called out, though my voice cracked like a kid's. Something shifted to my left. I turned the flashlight. Asterisk Jim lay slumped against a doorframe, breathing fast and shallow. His eyes were wide, terrified. Asterisk he saw me. Jim whispered, "He knows my face." Asterisk I grabbed his arm. "We're getting out of here." Asterisk no. He rasped. "We don't leave." He does. Asterisk what? Jim pointed to the end of the hallway. The darkness pulsed. Asterisk he wasn't here when the building was built, Jim said. He was here long before. Before the roads, before the houses. People just built over him. The silhouette stepped forward. My blood turned to ice. Asterisk, "We can't outrun him," Jim whispered. "We can only look away." Asterisk, "Look away." Asterisk, Jim's voice cracked. "Don't let him see your eyes." I should have listened. I don't know why I turned. Curiosity, maybe. Fear, human stupidity. But I turned and looked directly at him. The watcher, his face was inches from mine. Asterisk, I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Asterisk, his eyes were, what should have been eyes were, hollow pits, deeper than any shadow, and staring into them felt like falling into a well that had no bottom. Asterisk, my flashlight went out. His cold breath touched my cheek. A low whisper crawled into my ear. Asterisk, let me watch. Then nothing. Asterisk, I woke up on the ground floor as the sun rose. The police found me. The EMTs asked questions I couldn't answer. Asterisk, they found Jim, too. But he wasn't the same. He sat upright in a corner, staring at a blank wall, mumbling the same 2 words over and over. Asterisk, he's watching. Asterisk, he's watching. Asterisk, they said it was a mental break. Trauma. Exhaustion. Asterisk, they didn't find anything on the 3rd floor. No darkness. No footprints. Nothing. But I saw the camera feeds later. Asterisk, they'd been recording the whole time. Asterisk on the footage. The 3rd floor hallway was empty. Asterisk completely. Except every few minutes. Something tall and dark flickers at the very edge of the frame. Asterisk, it doesn't move. It doesn't blink. It just stands in the corner, facing the wall, always facing the wall, until the last few seconds of the recording, when it turns not toward Jim asterisk, not toward the camera, but toward where I had been standing, like it knew exactly where I was. That was a month ago. Asterisk, I quit. Moved in with a friend, changed numbers, avoided mirrors for weeks. Asterisk, thought I was safe. Asterisk, but last night, as I walked to the kitchen for water at 3 a.m., I heard something, a soft tapping, from the living room wall. 3 taps, slow, measured. I pressed my ear to the wall. A whisper bled through the plaster. Let me watch. Asterisk, and now, asterisk, as I type this. Asterisk, someone is standing in the far corner of my apartment. Tall, still, facing the wall. He hasn't turned around yet, but when he does, I know he'll be looking right at me.